Hello there everybody, this is Alex from Hardcorian Guides, bringing you my guide for Transformers Devastation on Prime difficulty, and today we're doing Chapter 7, the final chapter, Legacy. So, this is going to be another one of the lengthier ones as well. I think like, 20 to 30 minutes long probably, and this chapter I do like. I think this chapter is pretty fun because it's mostly arena to arena fight. This is mostly just straightforward fighting. There's hardly any in between besides just getting past the lasers. So everything that you've known before will come in handy here, of course. So, you know, and plus you have your teammates here with you helping you fight. So it makes things a lot easier. Basically, just essentially do what you do best. And that's just beat the living crap out of everything in sight. There's, I want to say, maybe, 4 to 5 different fights, mandatory fights, if I remember correctly, so there's nothing, this doesn't go on for too long. The main problem with this chapter, the hardest part of this chapter is the Constructicons, in my opinion. And there's probably people out there that can handle Constructicons just easily enough, but for somebody like me, no. The Constructicons are quite difficult, and this chapter is also famous for also having Devastator and Menacer at the same time. But, in my opinion, the bigger they are, the harder they fall, and the easier they are to deal with. So, that's how my Transformers logic works, for the most part. Because the bigger they are, the more mass they have. The more mass they have, the less they'll be able to hit you. Even Menacer, with his aggressiveness, seems to be relatively easy to deal with if you just mash dodge. And that is, of course, the key to every successful Transformers run. But we'll see what happens when I get to Sideswipe, and we'll see what he does. Because his ability, I don't get his ability yet. I mean, all it does is just a simple dodge. It doesn't look like anything particularly too crazy, but I haven't actually messed with him enough to really learn him. So we'll get to see Sideswipe when we get to him eventually in the future, hopefully, if things do go well. I don't want to say, you know, for certain, of course, but the plan is to do all of the Transformers by themselves, their own campaigns. Yes, doing the same game 5 times, and then after I finish all of them by themselves, I'll do an entire campaign run with all 5 together. So, be switching off every chance that I get. Whether it'll be switching off each chapter, or whether it be switching off each, you know, checkpoint situation, I don't know yet. But that is something for the future to hold. And I don't want to kill you guys on Transformers, and I don't want to have to see nothing but Transformers Devastation videos, you know, on my video side of things, so I don't want to fill it up too much. But yeah, of course, you know, simple stuff. For the most part, the first few waves of enemies are just relatively easy. This one can probably be a little bit more difficult considering the fact that Motormaster is here himself, but Motormaster isn't really what I would consider one of the more topper tiers of bosses. And, you know, he's got the electric balls that he will probably do, and plus with your teammates helping you out, that makes it a lot more easier to deal with. See, it's the same case with Menacer, where essentially his aggressiveness is his downfall, and just, again, you know, your focus time is very, very helpful here. Also, go for like the smaller ads first before dealing with him, because your teammates will most likely probably just try to, you know, fight off Motormaster himself. But once you get rid of all the ads, that's when everybody starts focusing. I know it's like 1 left. But once you get rid of all the ads, that's when everybody starts focusing on just the one guy. And it can definitely turn the tides to your favor of beating these guys down. And of course, just do the reversal type stuff on Motormaster, or just any boss, you know. Basically just beat him down, you know, get focus time, beat him down, and then whatever you feel like you're able to do it, you know, use your ability to kind of leapfrog or slide underneath him. But yeah, you saw right there, I tried doing the wall trick, and it didn't work, unfortunately. Loudspeaker, as always. I tried using it there, and I eventually get it off. I don't use it very often in this playthrough, mainly because I just want to just hit them. I was a lot more reliant on the Loudmaster back with Optimus, and I think the reason why is because Optimus doesn't have a lot of really quick and fast and easy stuff to get away from. It's not like he's slow. It's just like he seems to be... yeah, he doesn't have a lot of stuns. But I think the reason why I'm able to even stun in the first place is because I'm using the shock gauntlets. And that always helps. So I'm pretty sure the shock gauntlets, I think, do cause stun eventually. And that's what helps me out. So, but if you don't have any way of stunning, Loudspeaker is a good option. And if you don't have Loudspeaker, then you can do all these fights by yourself. And not that you really need it, but those stuns, they can be a little bit of a game changer. They can be. So yeah, again, now we have even more ground soldiers to fight with. Of course, you know, the ones, big old hammers. And just the regular yellow tinted ones. So, nothing too special. Save your ultimate for just a little while. I mean, you could build it up again even after this fight. But, yeah, even though I said save it up, here I am using it. But, I like how my video just ends up listening to me every single time. That's kind of funny. But, yeah, so, you could build it up relatively quickly. But I'm trying to say is... try to keep your ultimate for the Constructicons. Like, if you know exactly what mission they're in, then try to make sure you have your ultimate by then. So that way you can just throw it out as soon as the fight begins. And plus, since Bumblebee's ultimate actually throws ahead of him, that's where the Constructicons are going to be. They're going to all be, you know, on the same... they're just going to be in the background, and then you just throw it at them. You'll see what I mean. I don't remember if I had the ultimate by then, but I think I should. But yeah, at this point, most of these fights are just clear out the fight. That's the best I can say about those, because like they're all just... It's just a, you know, a conglomeration, fudge. I can't speak. It's just one big type deal where they're just, yeah, all... mostly the same fights you've done before, but this time just even more. And for this section, just drive around and shoot. Have a machine gun blaster type situation and just drive around and shoot them down. And they'll eventually die off. I got double S rank, so if anybody's going for that double S, there you go. As long as you're just shooting them, you should be fine. You can also use the, I like to call it the Call of Duty lock-on type thing, where you aim in and it immediately locks on. So you can use that aim assist type thing to your advantage. But you have to, like, you know, delock and relock type stuff. But, yeah. Maybe one day I'll do a Call of Duty veteran mode type thing for this channel. I can definitely see it having potential guide abilities. Like, you know, where to take cover, that type of stuff. Same thing with Uncharted. Like, eventually I'll do Uncharted 1. I would like to do Crushing. And that's mostly just, like, cover-based type guide-specific stuff. Like... better places to take cover at, better advantage points, that type of stuff. But I still feel like that's guide material. That's definitely totally guide material, in my opinion. So this fight here is just nothing but Seekers. And you see that I'm actually keeping on to my ultimate here. And I hope I actually do. I can't remember, but I did eventually die to the Constructicons like 10 plus times. So most likely you'll probably see me actually losing my ultimate anyway. But that's okay. Not a big deal. If you do have it, use it, because it does at least a little bit of damage, and it's just enough to where just any amount of damage you could do, just in general, is just always nice. And that ultimate is a free iframe type thing anyway, so yeah. Avoid these guys like the plague. Don't worry about them. They're really nothing. And then get to your next... Oh, now we still have one more fight left. And I think I'm pretty sure there's some ultimate here, so this is the boss fight, so... If basically my statement still stands true, try to have an ultimate for the Constructicons the best you can. Try to keep an ultimate for them. But if you have to use it for these two, which, to be fair, these guys don't really necessarily need it, especially since they're flying around. They're a lot more evasive, and having your ultimate just miss would just kind of suck. So you could use Loudspeaker to get them out of their transform state and then fight them on ground if you feel like it's not much of an even fight. But going for just basic gunshots to eventually knock him on the ground and go for nice hits is very helpful, because these guys, fortunately, just like some of the other bosses like Starscream and such, they don't have a lot of health, which is nice. Because I'm pretty sure by now you guys have noticed the health pools do fluctuate with specific bosses, which is bound to happen, of course. But it's definitely nice. Sorry, I'm kind of still a little. I'm always tired, so I apologize for the constant yawning, but that's just how it is. I think it's probably also because I talk so damn much, and then I don't know. Also, I'm getting a little bit nasally again. God damn, that's not good. But yeah, you could kind of, you know, you can kind of mess with these guys a little bit. You know, hang in the air, use your ability to, you know, reverse them pretty much. You know, go for the back attacks. Not that back attacks really do anything, but hey, you know, it's a nice little bit of damage. It's just, for me personally, like, the damage doesn't really make up for how long it takes to actually do it. Like, I could probably get a few more hits off, you know, in that time period than I probably could. Yeah, also, I am shaking my leg a lot. I don't know why. It's just habit. Hopefully that doesn't pick up on mic. I just want to say that. But yeah, here's the Constructicon, then Devastator, and then Minosaur fight. So I'm going to be using items in this fight. And yeah, you saw that I lost my ultimate. That's because I'm dumb. But, oh boy, the Constructicons. So having an energy weapon, an Energon weapon itself, is pretty nice. But my best advice is A, go for the one that gives you the most trouble, or B, try to go for one that is a lot more passive. So I mentioned this earlier in, I think, like Chapter 1, but you want to try to get them by themselves, which also isn't really the best piece of advice, considering the fact that if you get one by himself, the other Autobots are going to get decimated. As you see, Optimus is just basically just dead. They're going to get decimated by the others, but that gives you plenty of time to at least take out one. If you can take out at least one, you can take out the rest. So use the Energon weapon for when they're grouped up, but use any other sort of like just close encounter melee weapon so you can save on your energy, and use your loudspeakers. Like, use this constantly, and if you have to use items, do it. I did it, so yeah. But yeah, try to focus on the ones that are not as aggressive. Like the Mixer guy, he's the one I always try to go for, because his moves are just way more infuriating to deal with because they stun you. And you don't want that. You don't want to be stunned in this fight. That sucks. But once they start grouping up like this, that's when I start whipping out the Energon weapon and just going for any strikes I possibly can. It may seem counterintuitive to have them grouped up, but trust me, having them in one place makes them a lot more easier, because if they're focused on you, then you at least know where they're all at. And if you know where they're all at, they're not going to be able to attack you from just some random place. You know what I mean? And especially if you get rid of the Mixer guy himself, it makes this fight much easier, because he's not putting down any status ailment type things on the field. Because like once he's gone, he's the only one I can think of that does status ailments. There's also the Drill guy. He's a little bit of the zoner, but he's kind of like more of like a mid-zoner, mid-aggressive type guy. Hook himself is aggressive. And I can't remember the names of the other ones. I'm kind of blanking on them right now. But yeah. Yeah, the rock bows also suck too. But as long as you keep them in camera and you keep them at least somewhat close to each other, it actually makes the fight somewhat easier and much more manageable. And that is the best advice I could give for this fight, is Energon weapons and keeping them in close proximity to you, so that way you can get multiple hits at once. And you can keep an eye on the little bastards, because my god, they are quite aggressive. But I keep saying it, but just like Minosaur and Motormaster, the aggressiveness is going to be their downfall. So if you are tuning in at this chapter specifically, and I haven't said it yet, mashing the dodge button and having the move where you can get away with just even getting hit while mashing the dodge button makes this fight a lot more incredibly easier to deal with. So there we go. I took down like what, 2 or 3 of them by now. But yeah, try to focus on any of the ranged type guys first. are the ones that you have the most trouble with. If you try to single out one of them first and foremost, it definitely makes this fight just a tad bit more easier to handle. And yeah, I don't know why I was trying to go for the rev there. I had the chance. I just said, screw it. I'll take a little bit more damage. I could probably dodge right after, which is nice. Of course, aerial attacks do also help nice, too. But yeah, eventually your teammates do respawn if you take too long to eventually kill them off, which luckily they do respawn, even though it takes quite a bit of time to deal with. But yeah, so now we have to fight Devastator by himself. One thing, though, to keep in mind is if you want to try to bait him out to do leg attacks, there's no real guarantee for when he'll ever really do them. But if you try to get those leg attacks, like where he just tries to kick you, dodging them is very helpful because, well, one, you don't get hit. Two, it causes him to trip, and that's what you want to go for. But he's not very generous with his leg strikes. So I just say, screw it, whatever, I'll just beat him like I normally do. But yeah, once he does those leg strikes, you attack the other leg, and then you jump up, hit him in the head for going for even more damage, or shoot him in the head. Same thing with Menacer, but Menacer, unfortunately, is too aggressive for being shot at. That's why with Menacer, I just recommend going for dodge into focus time stuff and just mashing the dodge and dealing with him that way. But for Devastator, he's a lot more slower and easier to counteract, which is nice. I just realized something. Would it be potentially cool if Platinum Games made a Godzilla game? I think it could probably work. But I mean, Godzilla works in a very weird way though, so I don't know. It's possible. I mean, anything's possible, but yeah. So even though there are two of these big bastards, the mashing the dodge just saves you so much trouble. And relying on the balls, like, you want to go toward the balls and dodge when you're in close proximity to the balls, the electric balls. So that way you can get the focus time off of. Now, for this fight particularly, I recommend just going for Devastator first. It may sound weird because, oh, Menacer is back there and he's shooting at me, but that's the thing, though, is he's constantly shooting at you. So having him just essentially constantly shooting and just dodging and using items willingly, you know. If you don't have the items, then, I mean, the best you could do is just rely on checkpoints at this point. Or just, you know, go back to the lab and go get some. So, yeah. For this part, yeah, having Menacer in the background just makes it a little bit more easier. Again, it may sound weird, but he's constantly attacking, which basically means you can constantly keep dodging and having that be your benefit, essentially. It also helps having your teammates here, too. They probably won't die too often in this fight because, for the most part, these two big dudes are just going to mostly focus on you instead of them, which is nice. Because with the Constructicon fight, they were all about focusing on them. But yeah, as you saw there, I've done that twice now. If you actually get a nice dodge, or just even like a nice vehicle strike while, you know, Menacer's going to evade, you can essentially just still get some damage on him because whoever was in the middle, which I forgot who it was, I don't think it was Motor, wasn't. Whoever is in the middle is essentially the one that will still get hit. So he still has an active hitbox while he's still there, or hurtbox or whatever. Yeah, he can still be hit, which is nice. But usually when you get a cutscene, I think it actually triggers a checkpoint, but I wasn't 100% sure, and I was not taking that risk. I did not want to take that risk and get sent back to fighting the Destructicons, if that was even possible. I don't know, and I certainly did not want to find out. So the rest of this might be kind of just a little bit on the more boring side because it's just essentially just the same thing over and over again where I'm just dodging, hit, dodging, hit, dodging, hit, and using items, which I eventually run out of. But this is when I just start saying screw it and start using power boosters to make this fight just go a little bit less tedious because I'm not doing too much crazy damage. But yeah, this is the first time I really ever started using items that often. I try not to do it, especially these guides, because I try to keep anybody and everybody in mind. But again, if you're using items, then yeah, go right ahead. You know, just have no fear with it, have no problem with it. Maybe one day I'll do a sort of, you know, maybe I'll do a no healing or no item type thing. But for right now, that is just what it is. Maybe in the next campaign I could try not using items too much. But yeah, there we go. That takes care of that. And now we're going to go fight Megatron on the beach. So Megatron on beach has quite a few nifty type situation things here. So eventually you'll see it, but he will start spawning these lava pillars. And the best part about those is they're kind of like the electric balls with Motormaster or Menacer, where you can use them to your advantage to get that dodge off of and get focus time on. Also, another thing to keep in mind too is once you get him down to a certain amount of health, a quick time event will happen. So don't think you have to fully kill him. You technically could, but you don't really technically have to. But yeah, I'm using items because, again, screw it. I'm by myself. Why not? One other thing I can say about this fight is rush attacks. That also helps because sometimes I think he does use shield. Actually, no, I don't think he does. But either way, rush attacks are nice because they land you right into vehicle strikes. Which, even though while you're in vehicle mode, it's awesome because of the fact that you could just, you know, dodge the lava while doing it. But you're going to see pretty soon, I'm going to do something pretty cool. I'm going to do some Vanquish stuff eventually, which I'm pretty sure that's what they were trying to nod to. It should happen soon, but I'll start shooting again. And yeah, right there. Look at that. Isn't that cool? That's some pretty cool stuff right there. Also, Vanquish, I'm thinking about doing at some point as well. I'm going to do hard mode first, because that's the basics of the guide. And then, because I feel like God Hard is a pseudo gimmick mode. Like, it's not technically a gimmick mode, but I feel like it's a mode of its own that I could do a different separate guide for, basically, if I ever do eventually accomplish God Hard mode. I have ideas of how to beat it. And for anybody watching, if you wanted a quick tip on Vanquish, I know this has nothing to do with it, but if you wanted a quick tip on Vanquish, you could actually keep your weapon upgrades. Yeah. Even if you die, you can keep your weapon upgrades. So, essentially what happens is, whenever you get your... just try to keep a rocket launcher throughout the entire game the best you can. And every time you die, just hit the start button or whatever, go back to title screen, and come back. Never restart checkpoint. Because if you restart checkpoint, it resets your upgrades. So, yeah. I know this has nothing to do with it, but hey, if anybody's playing Vanquish out there still, which I am, but, you know, if you are, then, yeah, there you go. So, now we're going to do some Metal Gear Rising shit, eventually, where we're just going to, you know, doing that cool-ass anime stuff that we all love to see. So there you go. There's our in the end reference right there, I guess. Well, not necessarily toward that, but hey, you know, that's the closest thing I can think of. But yeah, I wasn't exactly happy with this fight, so I ended up restarting the checkpoint here. You guys didn't get to see it, but that's what I did. So now we're actually stuck as playing as Optimus. It does kind of suck that we're forced to play him for this fight, and we're not allowed to play as anybody else. But, I mean, for story-wise, you know, it makes sense, and this fight is relatively pretty cool. But Megatron, for the most part, does about the same stuff he kind of does on the beach, just minus the lava. He's just the same way as he was with the Optimus campaign in general. I mean, there's nothing specific that is too different from that fight. Pretty much at all. And plus, he takes more damage, too, which is nice. Which I did notice, and I was like, oh, I'm going to use Power Booster for this because might as well use it and get even more damage on him. But yeah, just dodge. Whenever you don't see him, just dodge. Just constantly keep up your dodge and constantly get that focus time and go for those attacks. So, and then once you've done that, eventually he will just falter, die, and be a relatively easy and quick final boss fight. Like, yeah, I mean, for a final boss, like, he's cool. Like, don't get me wrong, but he's nowhere near what I would consider, like, too big or grand. But that's kind of what I like about this too, is there's no need for that big grand stuff. Like, they're trying to go for more of a story thing, and I kind of like that about it. So yeah, once you get him down like a pixel bit of health, you know, quick time event happens, just mash circle. You don't have to mash it that much, but you could. And then it's finally over, Megatron. So there you go. That's it. Pretty damn epic, ain't it? Yeah. God, I love this game. But that's the end of chapter 7. Looks like I got a couple of missions SS'd, so that's not bad. But other than that, yeah, that's whoo boy, that's the end of Transformers Bumblebee side now. So next side I'll be doing is Sideswipe, but that won't be for at least a good while. I'd say give me some time for that. But let's talk about the things you guys want to hear, because I feel like I'm kind of done doing commentary right now. I just did 4 videos in a row. I kind of want to move on to doing other stuff. So without further ado, let's talk about potential plans for the future, the things that people like to hear. So what's the next possible guide? I'm thinking about, at first I was thinking about God of War 2, Titan difficulty, but now I'm more so leaning into just doing probably Warrior World no damage run, and it will be edited, of course, and it will be post-com, but or maybe even not. Well, it's not a boss thing. It's just more so it's less of a guide and just more of a run. The rules of that, which I'll probably explain later, especially in Warrior World itself, is if I ever take any certain amount of hit, just any hit at all, also no upgrades, because, you know, why not? So if I take any hit at all, I'm going right back to the beginning of the stage. So, like, I'm not going to, like, completely reset the entire game from start to finish. I'm just going to reset the level and then start over and then go from there. So, yeah, that's how that's going to work. If you guys don't like it, I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you, but I'll try to be as honest as I possibly can about it, of course. So, because I know how it is with no damage runs. Like, people fake no damage runs all the time, and I don't want to be that guy. And I know I'm making myself sound a little suspicious. It's like, oh, wow, he's talking about it so much, so he's going to do it. Yeah, whatever. But now I'm going to try to legitimately try my best to do that. They probably won't be uploaded until after I've actually finished the run. If I don't finish the run, there might not be a guide for a while. Who knows? So either God of War 2 will happen. Most likely Warrior World will happen, actually. God of War 2 might not happen. But whatever guide I do next, or whatever run I do next, after I am done with it, I'm going to go on a little bit of a hiatus again. So it might be a couple of weeks, it might be a month, but just don't expect anything for a little bit. That's what I'm going to try doing for the rest of Hardcorian, is every time that I'm done with a good batch of guides or runs, I'm going to go on my own hiatus. Now, this is just a case of, like, my stuff. If somebody else had stuff that was going to be uploaded to Hardcorian, then I would let that be that, and that wouldn't be really that would be a part of my hiatus, you know, like, just let them upload their stuff. But that is the main plans. For the boss rush idea, that might not happen right now, but it could happen in the future. Also, I do want to mention that for the boss rush stuff, it's not limited to hard games, by the way. So it's not limited to just normal runs either. There could also be other types of runs I could just do as well. But yeah, basically I just want to say, like, boss rush is just me fighting bosses. So if anything else comes out of it, any other types of gimmicks come out of it, you know, they'll be posted in the title, of course. But my brain kind of dumb, but I apologize. I can't remember your name. I'm sorry. If I had your name up here, I'd be able to see it. It's been years since I've been on this channel. I know you're a long-time subscriber, but I'm going off on what this comment was given to me on, I think it was Lollipop. When I was talking about boss rush initially, was doing, like, no healing and no items and stuff. And again, I want to give you a shout-out for that comment, but my brain kind of bad right now. I could go look, but I'm being dumb. So yeah, thanks again for the option. And like I said, like that type of gimmicky stuff could happen. But again, my main focus is just beating the bosses. So it could be like Mario 64. That's what I'm trying to get at. So yeah, that's all I want to say. So hopefully the next run will be Warrior World, no damage run. That's what I'm going to try to go for. And that's just like level to level, boss to boss type situation. So yeah. God of War 2, I don't know when. I always want to do God of War 2, but then I start doing it or start thinking about it, and I'm just like, I don't know. But yeah, it's funny how I've been saying I was kind of wanting to get off commentary, and here I am still jabbering away. So yeah, I'm gonna get these videos done, get these videos rendered, and get them popped out to you guys. So hopefully you guys enjoyed, and hopefully I'll see you in the next guide or whatever I see you. So as always, take care, everybody.